week for Dukies, huh?
Yeah, big week, always is. Yeah.
I don't know if there's ever been like 3 or 4 guys in the top 8. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it pans out that way.
Kon, has it hit you yet that your life could potentially change tomorrow?
I think I have good perspective about it right now. Obviously it's going to be super exciting, but I think it's just the next step for me.
How's your time at Duke prepared you for this next chapter of your life?
Obviously at Duke it's a big stage, and the NBA is the biggest stage for basketball. So I think that level of people that coverage and that pressure is something that you kind of get used to at Duke.
What's this lead up been like for you as far as workouts and stuff? One of those guys that's involved in a lot of different teams and you're traveling around working out for teams and stuff.
Yeah, I've been traveling around a little bit. I did a couple workouts. They're great. They're really tough. It's a challenge for any basketball player, and you really love it, and that's what I trained all spring for. So it was great to get out there and meet a lot of cool people.
What is the biggest challenge in that scenario, in that type of situation?
I mean, I did a lot of individual, so it's just, it's your conditioning, they want to see you in great shape, so I think that whole, the build-up of getting in the best shape, working out super hard, on your own, and then going to work out for these teams is really tough.
How many workouts did you have with the Jazz?
1.
And how was that?
It was great.
If they were to call your name, how would you feel about that?
It would be awesome. It would be an extreme blessing to be drafted by any team.
Have you allowed yourself to think about where you would fit into the different NBA teams that are in your range of drafting, and what you would bring to the table for each specific team?
Of course, yeah. I mean, you think about where you can go and what's best for you personally, but I think at the end of the day, you're going to get picked by an NBA team, and wherever you're going to go, you're going to make the best out of it by whatever you do.
Kon, you and your Duke teammates obviously have different draft processes, but what's it been like to kind of have those guys to lean on and talk to as you go through this process?
It's super cool. Having Cooper and having Kaman around here at these events, and then Tyrese Sion at the Combine as well. You have somebody to bounce stuff off of. Any feedback that they're getting, and any feedback you're getting about them or whatever, and you share with each other. But it's just a super cool thing to be able to share with teammates that you worked so hard for a year.
What would it mean to you and kind of the program to, I think, for the second time in 4 years, have your entire starting 5 drafted?
That would be awesome. I think that's something that's very likely to happen, and hopefully it pans out that way.
Teams seem very comfortable with your game. Why do you think that is? They feel like it's really going to pretty easily translate, and whether you go 8th, 4th, whatever, teams feel like they're just going to be a good player.
Yeah, I think something I try to do is be versatile and be able to affect games in many ways. And so I think, I feel pretty confident about my ability to fit in with whoever I play with and find ways to affect winning.
Sorry if you've already been asked this, but how would you describe Cooper Flagg as a teammate?
He's a great teammate. He always goes out there, plays hard, plays to the best of his ability. That's all you can ask, and he happens to be a really, really good player. But he doesn't take any plays off, and everybody appreciates that about him.
Has it been cool going through this process with him and just being able to have a guy like that where you can just go through the motions together?
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody to bounce information off of. Him and Kaman, I've seen them a bunch, and being able to just talk to him about how the process is going is super special to have.
From an on-floor perspective, obviously likely the match. What's an NBA team getting it?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get a guy that's super consistent in his approach, a guy that plays really, really hard, doesn't take plays off, and that's most important, I think, for a special player. He competes at the highest level, and at the end of the day, he's just a great guy too, and that can be more important than anything about being a good basketball player.
Have you guys talked about the prospect of playing against one another now? After obviously having a year as teammates, but
we haven't talked about that much, but that'll be fun.
That perspective that you said that you have going into tomorrow, just what has allowed you to kind of keep the level-headedness that you seem to have?
Yeah, I think it's just being content with, you don't really have control of the situation, and then just the faith that God's gonna be with me wherever I go, and that's always gonna keep me grounded and keep me ready.
Kon, how have you developed as a prospect from a year ago coming out of high school to now as far as your body physically, your game? You're known as a shooter, primarily a shooter, and now people are saying you've got a well-rounded defensive game, toughness, physicality, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the way I've evolved in my body, being in better shape, being stronger. I think that's, I mean, for anybody, that's a game changer. But definitely, just I think some people were able to see my skills translate at a higher level of basketball, and that's something that's helped me.
What was the first weight?
What?
Did you put on weight in the last year?
Not really. I was a big guy. I was a big guy as a senior, so I'm trying to keep it at the same.
What was the first NBA jersey you ever owned growing up? Got some obscure ones already. I want to see, you might have a regular one. Who knows?
I had a nice Ray Allen Bucks jersey. We had a Michael Redd one too. Those were probably the first two. Yeah.
So you're telling me you never in your once in your life owned a Devin Harris Nets jersey or even a Wisconsin jersey?
We have a Michael Finley Wisconsin jersey, but we don't have a Devin Harris Wisconsin jersey.
You gotta get on that for sure.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
And then one more real quick. What's your favorite individual moment from your career thus far? One single-handed individual moment. Or play, actually.
Play?
Yeah, favorite play.
I dunked on a kid in an exhibition game. That hasn't happened much for me, so that was pretty special earlier this year.
That's on tape?
Yeah, it's on tape.
Pull that out.
Yeah, okay.
Kon, what do you think about the Duke experience prepared you guys to potentially have multiple lottery picks this year?
I think just being at the level that Duke is, like coverage-wise, that's tough to get adjusted to as a freshman, especially coming in. That's so talked about, and I feel like that helps translate to the NBA. It's highly scrutinized and everything, and just being adjusted to that as a young kid, or now a young professional, is going to have a little bit of head start there.
Yeah. What do you think about the tradition of it all? Like, does it feel like you're part of this, ongoing Duke to the NBA pipeline?
Yeah, it's cool. You see that stuff all around at the facility and stuff. All the players that are currently NBA, all the players that played. It's pretty cool, and yeah, you definitely feel that feeling.
Have you guys gotten any advice from alumni along the way?
We did a bunch this year. Shire was good about getting guys in to talk to us. So yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
It's probably unthinkable. Did you guys even consider the idea of running it back at Duke as good as you guys were?
No.
Hey, Kon, over 40 players been drafted out of the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
As a fellow Mr. Basketball winner in the state, what does that mean you be a part of that group?
It's really cool. It's elite company in Wisconsin, and it's something I've wanted to always do, and it's really special. I think my high school coaches kind of put that in perspective for me always, and once you knew that was a possibility, it's a really special feeling.
Would you say your closest friend from this draft class is?
From this draft class, I mean, Cooper and Knueppel probably. We're on the same dorm floor, so probably not.
What would you say is Cooper's best asset?
Cooper's best asset? I just think it's his ability to play hard, and he doesn't turn it off. It's the first thing I notice about him is just his motor. He keeps going. He's a competitor, and I think that's the best, because that's hard to duplicate or train somebody to have.
Kon, if you could have a go-to move named after you one day, what would it be called?
The K2 special.
What is it? Describe it.
If I could have a go-to move, I mean, I can't throw it off the backboard and dunk to myself like some of my teammates could, but maybe just like a post fadeaway or something.
Thank you.
No.
Can I get your thoughts on Stanley Borden transferring to UTSA?
Stanley Borden. Yeah, Stan's a good guy. He's a man of many talents. Got a lot of interests. He'll be a good guy to have around in the program. And he was a hard worker for us all season. So he's a great addition.
Kon, big part of NBA culture these days, tunnel fits, what guys are wearing, going to games and stuff, fashions. It seems like every year is more popular. Is that a big part of your personality, of your life? Do you care a lot about fashion? Have you thought about your first few fits in the NBA?
I don't care at all, to be completely honest. I got this on today. This is about as creative as you'll get.
What about tomorrow's fit? Is that planned out already?
It is.
Can you share?
I'll just leave it for tomorrow. Yeah.
Spending a year with Cooper.
What was it?
Spending a year with Cooper. What makes him unique? People said he was, the best draft prospects in Zion. Well, he went to college. I mean, what do you, after playing a year with him, what do you think makes him special?
Yeah, I mentioned it before, just his competitiveness. And he just doesn't turn it off. I think that's something that can't be taught. It can't be trained to get better at. He just got it, and when you want to compete at a level like that, it's really good to have on your team, and I think that makes him, and it will continue to make him great.
Is there anything specifically saying he just doesn't turn off? Anything specific you can kind of point to in terms of his competitiveness?
I mean, he just works hard all the time. Like his effort level on each individual possession is high, and it's really hard to get that or find that in players of his caliber.
A lot of you guys grew up together in high school, AAU and stuff. What's your experience been with Dylan Harper, and how would you evaluate him as a prospect?
I've played him once, and I played against him in an all-star game, and so I haven't got a whole lot of him, but he's obviously watching him play. He's a really, really talented player, skilled around the basket, super, super strong. And shifty, which is a dangerous combination. I think he'll be a really, really fantastic player in the NBA.
Has anything surprised you about this pre-draft process? I know you guys all go into it thinking what it's going to be like, but has anything been like, wow, I didn't know that's how that part was going to go?
I don't think so. It's really cool to just meet like a bunch of high, powerful people in basketball as just a fan. So maybe that can be a little intimidating.
How would you picture